we have dealt with the single part, and now you guys have been married for
13 years
13
this year.
years this
Yes,
year.
sir.
Oh my God, we are following you behind. It's 11 years this year.
God,
You're getting me.
God.
So now, the question that I wanted to bring to your attention, or just to bring you, is what kind of communication habits have you developed over the years in marriage? As we're talking about that, maybe you can link it up. There are a number of expectations that people have
Yeah.
for marriage, or when they get married. I think a number of maybe on the men's side, the women can talk on, can say on their part. You feel as though it will be party after party every day, and the party after party we're talking about is you think as if you'll be having sex morning, afternoon, evening. You're getting me, and also, and that has been actually the drive for marriage. But now you come in, then you realize, hey, there are responsibilities. Oh, now we have these kids. Oh, there are these responsibilities and all those issues. What you're speaking to?
100%. 100%. Yeah, so I'll give it a go. So again, buy the book. Yeah, so there is a code that we've got in our marriage. It's called open and honest communication. So now, it sounds fancy when you just say it like that, but it takes a lot of work to actually actualize it.
Yeah.
Because in principle, we have agreed based on books we've read, mentorship we've received, to say that if we're going to run this marriage on secrets and half-truths and dishonesty, it's going to crumble.
Yeah.
That's a fact that we know very well. So we know that truth. Now, the next step is, what are we going to do about it?
Sure.
So from the get-go, even from our relationship or courtship days, was let's be open and honest 100%.
Awesome.
Because that is going to help us address an aspect that you raised, which is that of expectations. There was a season in our courtship where I think we struggled with the whole communication thing because of the male-female complex.
Sure.
Okay, so here I am as a guy. I have my own way of interpreting certain things about her and certain things that she says, and based on assumptions, I make certain decisions, and boom, everything comes back at me. And I'm wondering what's going on here. I thought, or you thought.
You thought wrong.
You know what I mean? So we realized to say that if we are going to run this relationship based on assumptions, we're going to struggle.
Yeah.
So that's why we decided as a team to say we're going to throw assumptions out the window from the get-go as a matter of principle. Okay? So that was a decision made. Now we had to put that in practice.
Yeah.
The practice hasn't been fun and games.
Sure.
Okay, it's had its own struggles, but over the years, we've noticed that we have grown in our communication. We have grown in our practice, and we've had to do this very intentionally.
Yeah.
And that's very, very important.
Sure.
Because you may not always feel like it. You may not always want to be very open.
Yeah.
Okay, especially for me as a man, because it's not very easy for me to open up about my vulnerabilities, to a woman, or to my wife, the person that is the closest to me. It may sound like it should be the easiest, but it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've also, as a man, I've had to learn to be vulnerable to her, and I must hand it to her that she has created an enabling environment for me to be able to do that. And I think that's where it's probably a side conversation, but that's where a lot of men struggle, because when they want to open up, the women that they are women then use that against them, and so they feel like, what's the point? The last time I tried to be vulnerable, she flipped it against me and all of that. So I must hand it to my wife that probably she'll speak into how she's managed to do that. I don't know. But she's been able to create an environment of safety for me.
Yeah.
Okay? So that environment has allowed the whole policy of open and honest communication to thrive and to grow and to benefit us.
Yeah.
Because now, 12 plus years later, when we look back, we see the different circumstances and seasons of life that have tested us to the core. And it's that level of openness and vulnerability that has saved us to a greater degree.
Awesome.
Because if there are gray areas, if there are half truths, if there are, lies and all of that, like it makes life very difficult, because the moment you tell one lie,
you need to cover it up.
exactly,
You need to tell more lies.
that's it.
Yeah.
So now you can imagine you hit a brick wall in your relationship or in your marriage, and the way to fix that brick wall is for you to be vulnerable. Now you are here and you've told 600 lies.
So now coming down to the one.
You understand what I mean? It becomes harder because now you're thinking, what's at stake?
Yeah.
What is it going to cost me for me to begin to unearth all these things that are buried underneath?
Yeah.
It's worth it for you to go that route and just be very open, but it's going to be easier if you start early as opposed to for you to wait until you've buried a whole bunch of dirty things under the rug over time. So I've mentioned a couple of things. Number one, the principle itself of open and honest communication helps you as a couple, because then with that you know that whatever happens in the future, my wife is on my side.
Sure.
I am on my wife's side.
Sure.
Whatever the world says, I will take my wife's word for it. Why? Because of the principle that we run by. I'll give you an example. So if I'm going to go, so by principle, like I don't mentor females by principle. I can coach, I can train, but I won't mentor them because we believe in holistic mentorship. So holistic mentorship suggests that you need to be vulnerable and tell me about all the areas of your life for the mentorship to be meaningful. So that's why I don't mentor.
And for boundaries' sake.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So for the sake of safety, my personal safety and the safety of the other person. So for example, if I'm gonna have a meeting with a female anyway, if it's a meeting that I must have, the open and honest communication principle we run by means that I need to let her know first before I even agree to that appointment.
Yeah.
Okay? So if by any chance I don't, and then she finds out, she will obviously check in with me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
What happened there? And I will need to give an account. Okay? An open and honest account of why I didn't communicate.
Sure.
Okay? But what that principle does basically is that if I've already communicated to her, and then somebody else, sees me, as I saw GP at Mint Agora with this fly chick,
Oh my God.
sends a text. Chances are that by the time that text is reaching her, I would have already declared that, I was having that particular meeting. So already that creates a safety net for us. So that cuts across, it cuts across finances, whatever money is coming to my system.
Yeah.
Okay? Even if it's a Kamasai gig.
We're taking notes. We're taking notes.
If it's a Kamasai gig. So, unpopular opinion, I don't believe in having a secret stash somewhere. Like for the ugly day, whatever. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe, and this is what we were taught even in our premarital counseling.
And that's what we
shouts out
teach,
to our counselors, shouts out to Dr. Kumwenda who talks about declaring at the border.
At the border.
Okay.
And I was telling someone about declaring at the border, the men
Sure.
that we like to talk about marriage conversations with, and you know what they said? Obviously, some of them are unbelievers. So they said, declaring at the border, the problem is when you declare at the border, there'll be tax that will need to be paid.
To be made.
So it's better don't declare because the wives will get taxed. Anyways,
Yeah, and I think that's the flip side that my wife was speaking to.
Yeah.
But that's one aspect, like declaring at the border, ensuring like we've heard crazy stories of husbands passing away.
Yeah.
And
Because
then, their wives are left struggling and all of that because there is a part of their monies, their wealth, that they kept under lock and key. Nobody has access whatsoever, and even if their wife does find out, by the time she's getting a hold of that money, like she would have to go through so many crazy processes. It just makes life very difficult for the people you claim you love.
Yeah.
You know. So my philosophy, our philosophy is whatever it takes. Let your relationship be very open and honest. In this area of finances, statistics, man of God, are showing that amongst the top 3 reasons why marriages are divorcing or rather crumbling, or why the divorces are happening, finances is amongst them. You know,
The top
if
of
not the top,
it's actually
number
on the
one.
top of the
You see what I mean? You know,
as per our opinions.
you know, yeah.
You know, they can say, no, we've put it as a standard, as in this, in case we are wrong, but finances are usually number 1.
Yes.
So 100%.
But even research has shown, like even
Even the stats that were produced, I think it's 2023 from the divorce rates, you know, like finances was huge. You know, so basically, even in that area for us, based on the mentorship we received, the premarital counseling we received, you are safer being 100% honest in the area of finances. So it for us, to answer your question, it cuts across all the different spectrums of the marriage relationship. By way of principle, we found that it's less stress. You know, as a man, you will be less stressed, you will live longer, you will breathe better. You know, if you're just open and honest with your wife. And man of God, that also includes areas where you're struggling. Areas where you're not doing very well. The first person that you're supposed to open up to is the person you claim is the closest to you.
your best friend.
The best friend. Now, if you are struggling with that, then you need help. If there are challenges that you faced because you opened up and you are bent, then you need help. So you can't throw the principle out of the window because of a bad experience. The bad experience doesn't override the principle. The principle remains law. If there are any other caveats or other things to it that need to be worked out, let them be worked out. But the principle remains, and it must be adhered to.
So I get in a relationship with this guy who was like very blunt, open, you know, and for me, I wasn't. So one of the challenges we had was sometimes we would not know why I was upset when I was upset because I didn't tell him.